Welcome everybody to our weekly Soul Changes Lives webinar. My name is Debbie Perez Cockburn. I am your hostess with the mostest. This is a beautiful time of year. Yesterday we had tornadoes in North Texas, and today the sun is shining and beautiful, and you'd never know anything happened. And it came really close to our house before 6 a.m. And then that line of tornadoes just kept moving. And so our hearts and prayers are with some members of our congregation who were affected, and also anybody else here in Texas who was affected by those. I know that part of the group that joins us in Spanish was very close to Grapevine, and that was another hit by those tornadoes, but they managed to get on the webinar yesterday. So all is well. All is well here in Texas. I'm just so happy to be with you. This is our last class of 2022. And so I have some announcements to make at the end of the class, because we're going to change things up for 2023. But for today, we're going to follow what we usually do. And in place, when we don't have a testimonial, we have a live testimonial from Dr. Jenkins. So we're going to start with a live testimonial of, actually, it's a live tutorial of Soul Vital, which will be followed by one of the founders, and he is the president and CEO of Soul Naturals, Greg Halliday. He's a dear friend of mine for over 31 years. And we're always so happy to have him here every week, but he splits his time. I don't know. He's magic because he joins everybody's webinars. And so one of the announcements I will make today, and I will send all the information, is that we are combining forces. So all of my group will be united Mondays and Tuesdays, English, Spanish on Mondays, Tuesdays in English. And that means that you'll have a variety of teachers every week. And that way Greg has 3 less webinars to jump on during the week. So that's going to be awesome. I'm excited about that. I'm excited for you all to hear Dr. Jenkins today tell us about Soul Vital. So Dr. Jenkins, the time is yours.
Okay. This is the time of the year when people are, so joyful, and they're getting their Christmas trees. And when we were growing up, Christmas trees only had one color, the color of green, because they were real trees. And that's the thing about the Vital. It is the balancing color, the color of Mother Nature. Mother Nature balances us. If we need to get centered, they say grounding. Take your shoes off and put your feet on Mother Nature, and you do it on the green grass. So what she does is that with the Vital, one thing is it has detoxification properties, because when you are stressed out, you need to ground yourself so Mother Nature will pull that stress down from your body into the earth, because she has more foundation than any of us have. So the detoxification of the greenness, the chlorophyll in there, helps to detoxify the body of any abnormal cells, toxins, heavy metals, things like that. One of our colonic therapists in Chicago, every time she gives us a colonic, right after the colonic, she gives us a shot of liquid chlorophyll in some water and a probiotic, because they're flushing out the good and the bad stuff, not as bad as antibiotics, but they're flushing the stuff out. And by replenishing that, that helps to nourish the colon, helps to continue the detoxification of the colon, and kicks it up a notch. Now with the Vital, what we can do, I love the packages of the Vital, because, instead of us just having that one little shot of that, you can put it in 16 ounces of water. Drink that after the colonic or after your enema, whatever you do. We use a part of the fasting, and that continues the process of cleansing. We are eating toxic food during this time, the sweet and dangerous season. So we need to detoxify that. Another benefit of the Vital, it has alkalizing properties. We have so much acidity in our lifestyle, acidic foods, acidic water, acidic emotions. A lot of folks say, well, I eat a lot of alkalizing foods, things like that. But the number one thing that'll throw you into an acid pH is stress. So one thing about that is that it helps you to calm down. So it gets you out of that stress mode into that relaxation mode. And that will do that, especially because it's balancing you. It helps you to recover because when you're using a lot of nutrients, vitamins and minerals, you are out of balance. So with all the vitamins and minerals in there, there is a high amount of vitamins and more minerals and vitamins because the body needs more minerals than it needs vitamins. It gives the body back. And it also oxidizes the body because when we are stressed out, we breathe high in our lungs and we're taking not enough oxygen in and holding that CO2, which makes us more toxic. So it oxygenates us and it increases the circulation to the brain because the brain needs more nutrients, more oxygen, more blood than any other organ in the body. And it balances the body out, the mood. It helps us with stress, from stress to relaxation, from fear to faith. And one thing when you're using it, putting it in your energy drinks, like I put it in my shake this morning, that with the cinnamate that I talked about last week, very, very beneficial. Put in my fiber, put in my collagen couture, and it made it good. And I'm going very good. And this last week, I've been moving at warp speed and it is fantastic. So it helps with the detoxification, inflammation, because during this time, this is the flu season, it helps with antioxidant properties, antiviral properties. Okay, it helps with the circulation and respiration. So you're breathing deeper, getting in more oxygen, helps with that immune system, and it helps with the moods. Because one of these, you know, this is a joyful time of the year, but a lot of people, because, you know, they might not have a significant other, they might not be with family, somebody in their family has died around this time of the year, and it's not joyful for them. So if you can bring joy and peace to your life by drinking this and helping get you centered with Mother Nature and Father God, this is vital to your life.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. That was beautiful. And I would only add two things that we didn't mention with that, but Soul Vital has 4 sources of chlorophyll, not just one that you would get in a bottle of liquid chlorophyll. And it's sweetened with stevia, so it tastes really good. That's why when you put it in water, it's fresh every time you mix it. And it has 6 different adaptogenic herbs. And that's why during this season, it can help balance your emotions as well as balance your organs. So thank you for that amazing presentation, Dr. Jenkins. Really appreciate that.
Another thing I would like to add to that, what I do to kick it up a notch when I'm putting it out, because I mix it with a attention tamer tea. And what I sweeten that with is monk fruit. Monk fruit increases your chi, your energy. So the stevia that's in there, plus additional monk fruit and putting other greens in your shake, that really kicks it up a notch. So if you want to be energized during this time of joy and peace, be vital, put the vital energy into your body. Yes,
Wonderful.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So our next guest speaker is Greg Halliday. As I mentioned before, he is one of the founders of Soul Naturals. He is the president and CEO. He's also the, I always call him the brainchild behind the product formulation. I know he has many associates that help him with that. He was very good at formulation at another company we both worked at. And so I trust his judgment. And I asked Greg to tell us today at the close of the year, because we mentioned this probably earlier in the year. And many people probably don't remember, but I asked Greg to tell us again why adaptogens are such an integral part of all of the formulas at Soul. I mean, it's part of the philosophy. It's something that is deep in Greg's heart. And so I wanted him to just tell us again why adaptogens in Soul and why adaptogens are safe to use and all of the things that go into considering adaptogens and what makes them adaptogenic, including that name. Where did that name come from?
Thanks, Deb. Well, I will just say everything that's influenced me and continues to influence me is people like you and Dr. Jenkins. and others who have so much experience changing people's lives for good in all sorts of ways, including nutritionally. And it has had a deep influence on me. Excuse me. And I want you to know that I've thought really deeply about lessons I've learned, examples I've seen, and all of that is part of who we are at Soul and how we investigate and look at things. And let me just share you when we think about adaptogens for a second, because that was what we decided to do as we founded the company. Our determination was to include them in every formula. That wasn't a decision we took lightly or just sort of thought, hey, let's do this. It was based on what's really fascinating now is there's a lot of research on them. Even though adaptogens are really, really long known and long used in this world. The Chinese used them for millennia. In India, in Ayurveda, they used them. Here in the Americas, they use them. In Africa, several of them that we know, they used them. So I don't think that their use is new to anyone, but I think the language that people want to hear right now is so many people in the world, they need to hear from the language of research, even though to me, the results and the practical use are more powerful, but still research opens people's eyes, opens their ears, and I think it validates their choices. So let me just show you a couple of slides today. I won't show too many, but some things that have impressed me about adaptogens, and this is from Dr. Allison. Two of the people that I really respect, because they've published so much for years, clinical trials on adaptogens, are Panosian and Wickman. Now, this one's about 10 years ago. This was literally a year and a half before we founded Soul, this collection of studies. And what Dr. Allison Caldwell Andrews has done is she's just simply summarized them. And what they showed in study after study is that adaptogens increase mental work capacity. They make us stronger mentally. That's how I would say it. Even when we're stressed, even when we may be tired, they enhance attention. So they enable us to maintain the focus we desire. The focus we desire to me is bringing our minds and our hearts to bear on things that matter to us. And sometimes, we can get overwhelmed. We can't do that. We want to do that. Adaptogens, to many scientists, it's not clear how, but it is clear that they do enable us to focus and to continue on and have that stamina, even when we might be stressed or tired. And even when we get to a point where sometimes we feel the overwhelm, we've all felt that from time to time. We can tolerate mental exhaustion without dipping into that, kind of a pit that can take weeks to climb out of. And I think, so can I just stop here? I think so many people right now are trying to climb out of the pit. That's why we need people like you. And that's why Soul founded and formed itself, committed to share all the information we get, all the research we accumulate, all the formulas that we build, being transparent and sharing with you what they are in terms of everything that's in them, because we hope that everyone has the same information. It's my hope that every household of every kind can have the information, because as Hugh said, some people aren't in the situation where they have a ton of support. They may not even have any support right now. Their whole household might be them right now in their life. What can Soul offer and do to help them? Well, first of all, we can share the information that makes a big difference in how they feel. Just think of what Hugh said. We all need that. We all can do that. Every single person can do that. And secondly, a network of support, people they can reach out to. So one thing that really struck me when we first started looking at Soul and when we decided to do it was the power of adaptogens, because they give us capability in every way that you can think of, okay? In emotional, in cognitive or mental, and even also in physical ability. Without being stimulants, we get this energy because they work at the cellular level. But look at the second half of this slide. They actually are protective. And this is the other half of adaptogens maybe we don't talk about enough. But Panosian and Wickman showed this. They actually do protect us against, I would call it the pit. You know, we all probably have walked in the pit. It's being stuck in it, where all the big damage is happening. Life is going to be some walking on the peaks of mountains and sometimes walking in the pit, but having the strength to move through it is what adaptogens are all about, hence their name. So they are anti-anxiety. They're proven in clinical studies. They're antidepressive and they're nootropic, which means in all the ways that we currently measure, they benefit our brain. When we can think clearly and when we can think and process rationally, we can do anything. We can get through, or I'll say it better. We can get through anything and we can improve our situation and other people's situations. So to me, this is why I love adaptogens so much. This is what they said 10 years before this little summary. They said, I kind of get it. I chuckle at this one, okay? I chuckle at it, but I love it. Adaptogens are a new class of herbs that are metabolic regulators. Metabolic regulators. They increase the ability of an organism, you and me, to adapt to environmental factors and to avoid damage from such factors. I love that definition. I love it. That's why we have it and talk about it. This is why they're in every formula. What they do is they improve the effectiveness of all herbal formulas. An adaptogen in the formula, because what it does is it regulates, and when the body is in a balanced state, I mean, Dr. Jenkins talked a little bit about green is the color of balance. Okay, when the body is in relative balance, the body can heal. The body can fix things. The body can strengthen things. When the body's not, it has to devote its energies to the urgency, and things that are important to well-being are compromised. So adaptogens help us to avoid damage from the stressors. Here's another one. Let me go to, oh, it's not letting me go back one more. There we go. They're non-toxic. This is why they're beautiful and why they combine so well with other herbs. They produce a non-specific response to stress, a normalizing influence, irrespective of how we're out of balance. It doesn't matter. It does not matter why you're out of balance or how. Now it matters in terms of the learning about ourselves, but not in terms of your ability to rebalance and fix, because whether you're on this side to use sort of a physical symbol, whether you're on this side or that side, off of center, that doesn't matter, because adaptogens, one of their qualities is many active components and active components on either side of imbalance. That's what qualifies them. So I need to add here, we mentioned this yesterday in the class, there is not a world organization that declares these herbs are recognized as adaptogens and the rest aren't. That list doesn't exist. This is relatively new in the history of the world. Even the name itself, somewhere in the 1950s, I think, a Russian scientist seeking to come up with a descriptor for certain herbs that were used in Chinese herbology, that were used in Indian Ayurvedic herbal philosophy, and that were like these points, these attributes that held these attributes that I'm discussing now. He sought a way to describe that, and he coined the phrase adaptogen. So it's a relatively new term. What these two scientists are trying to say in calling it a new class of herbs is to teach us that we aren't recognizing this or using this, in anywhere close to its potential. They're so amazing because, first of all, and I always do the 5 fingers of the hand. This is sort of my way of describing adaptogens. I will tell you, this is how we view it at Soul. You won't find this list somewhere, but this is a summary of what we believe are the essential characteristics to be a true adaptogen, because all herbs have some factors, but they have to have all of the factors to be an adaptogen. So, and this is our opinion, and this is where I think we agree with the scientists that have studied them a lot. First of all, just like point number one here, they have to be safe for daily use, non-toxic, which means any age, any time of life, any situation, you can use them in the amounts you need. You might need a little, you might need a lot with what you're trying to rebalance. An herb can be useful and not be an adaptogen, but you have to be careful how much you use of non-adaptogens. With an adaptogen, they are what the Chinese would declare as superior herbs. The opposite of our mentality here. We think that the more potent something is, and you better just take a very little because this thing's so special. It's so potent. You only need this 2 milligrams, and it will just make all your dreams come true. What it really is doing is forcing a reaction in the body, and that may be important, and it can even be natural. But is that the root of what's going on? Or are we taking a symptomatic approach, even with natural things when we use that method? This is why we changed, and why Soul products are a different way than what we worked with before, because we want to work always from a state of balance, believing that that will get a quicker and a more lasting result, because it will deal with what's behind the issue that may be really bothering us, which is simply a messenger from the body saying, we have an issue here, and we're out of balance, and we need some some rebalancing. So adaptogen superior herbs in the eyes of the Chinese are the ones that you can take every day. And the fact is, superior herbs over time, there's a building effect. You don't just like get to a certain point where you kind of fix whatever's going on, and then that's that. When you stick with it, the body will do other things. So they're safe for everyday use. That's the first finger. The second one is, I mentioned they're energy, but not stimulants. Energy, but not stimulants. They don't force the body up to where it absolutely will have a crash reaction. That's a stimulant. And there are plenty of natural stimulants, by the way. Every once in a while, people want to make use of those, and I'm not criticizing that. But what I am saying is that if you do that every day, you will wear certain things out and you'll cause imbalances. With an adaptogen, you don't have any of that. That's why they're again, superior herbs. And then they are providing energy. I call it kid energy. The energy to do what you need all day, but you sleep at night. That's the second. Third, they're immune system improvers. They modulate. They don't just stimulate more white blood cells or move lymph, all important things, but not in the case, for example, of an autoimmune situation. There are certain autoimmune, I've had people, in fact, Soul Vital, Dr. Jenkins talked about it, people that wondered, if their main imbalance is a severe autoimmune, can I take this? Because it's just going to stimulate my immune system to hurt me more. And what I won't give you names right now, but Debbie could tell you who they are. What they found was Vital not only did not make their immune system, but it improved. And I'm thinking of one dear friend in particular who was involved in the founding, who about a month and a half after we founded Soul, she was given the news she had 1 week. She not only had leukemia, but she had a rare form, a variant that they don't have any answers for, and she was given 1 week. 4 years later, she could tell you lots about adaptogens. And many more years, and did wonderful things and made huge changes. And Vital was a big part of what she did. Avant Greens, I would throw in, because Dr. Jenkins brought up, what was he bringing up this? Oh, monk fruit. Monk fruit's in Avant Greens, and so is chlorophyll, in addition to Vital. And I know some people that will mix the two. They'll do Vital and Avant Greens. Avant Greens was what she used because she couldn't eat anything. She was already so far advanced when this started. It's amazing what her body was able to do. But that's the thing about adaptogens, okay? Now, not everything in all our formulas are adaptogens. We combine them with other herbs. So keep that and bear that in mind. But the core of the formulas is always adaptogens. So safe for daily use, the kind of energy your body needs. More energy means the body can do things it needs to do to put itself in homeostasis. And I shouldn't just say the body, it's the body and the mind. And then the third is modulating immunity. putting our immune response in a better position. That's how I would describe adaptogens. They put our immune response in a better condition. So again, like Hugh said, that's the season right now. It is every year. There are always some really mild viruses and some scary ones. Every single year since I've been around this, since 1991, there's going to always be a variant that's kind of scary to people. Doesn't need to be, though. If we ground into nature and we do those things, adaptogens are an incredible enhancement to this. The fourth thing I already mentioned, fourth finger, is lots of different active components and on both sides of imbalance, like nopal. Something in nopal lowers sugar in the blood. Another nutrient raises it. It's got them both. That's what adaptogens do. They have them both. They have substances on either side, and that's why ashwagandha is a great calmer for people. And other people go, I take ashwagandha and I have more energy. Where is their lack? What is their body not able to do? Because it's an adaptogen. The ashwagandha gives, it provides that, and the body takes where it's lacking. And so they might feel like, I found I had more energy, and someone else is like, I'm not anxious. Same herb, did both. So that is the telltale sign of adaptogen. And the fifth one, the last finger, is a direct influence on the HPA axis. In other words, that connection between hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenals, which is brain and stress management, which we probably could pat ourselves on the back because of all we've learned in science. And we probably know the tip of the iceberg. That's just my opinion on that, because most scientists will look at adaptogens and go, why do they regulate mood and emotions so well? What do they do? And they can isolate some things from various adaptogens, which work in different ways. Maca works in a different way. It's an adaptogen than, say, ashwagandha, than, say, rhodiola. Then say Siberian ginseng, several of which are in Soul Vital. They work in different ways, but that's the other telltale sign of an adaptogen. In fact, Dr. Allison gave her opinion. In her opinion, those 5 finger points, safe for daily use, energy but not stimulants, immune improving, lots of active components on either side of imbalance, and then affects and elevates mood. In her opinion, that 5th one is the most important marker of an adaptogenic herb, because so many things improve in our body's ability to heal when we get that in a healthy range. And so that's maybe longer than Debbie, you want, but you asked me to talk about adaptogens. It's really hard for me to say a word or two because it's the entire basis for Soul. And, what do we expect in the future for Soul? We want this information available to everyone. And we can put it out there. We can print it, digitally. We can say, hey, here it is. Anybody can have it. You can read it. And that will do 10% of the good. Yeah. The 90%, it only happens through mentoring. People like you who give time, who will sit down with someone who will listen and explain. We have a deep belief in mentoring, in providing open information, but also setting up a structure and rewarding mentoring, because that's how change happens. And that's, I hope that covered what you hope to hear, Deb.
It covered it and then some, because I say every week when I'm doing these webinars, how much I love and I appreciate what Soul has done for me personally. Coming from a background where I had extensive experience with other herbal supplements, I know the powerful things that the body can do when it's given good nutrition, but I also know that there's a difference between good, better, and best, right? With everything. You can do some really good things every day. You can pray every day for people. A better thing would be pray for the people that you love and then go out and do something with them, right? And the best thing that you could do for those people would be go pray with them, go be with them, learn from them, love them, and be an integral part of their body, right? That's the good, better, best. If I was looking about friendship. Well, when I think about taking care of my body, I think of good, better, best options. There are some good herbal products out there. I happen to love really, really good things in my life. And so if I'm looking for a good, comfortable pair of shoes, then I would have to look for certain things, right, in those shoes. Not just do they fit? Do they look good? Do they fit with my wardrobe? but are they a certain price? You know, who makes them? Where are they made? Are they made in a way that I would agree with or object to? All of those things are important. So when I think about my body and what I give my body, I have become that objective about everything. You know, what's the good options? Well, a good option would be taking chlorophyll, right? A better option would be using a chlorophyll that would do for something more for me. The best option would be using Sol Vital, because it's not just a chlorophyll, it's 4 types of chlorophyll, 6 different adaptogenic herbs. It's got, I don't know how many minerals and vitamins in it, and all of the things that my body needs to not just look good, but feel good and act in a better way, right? So those things are important to me. And when I tell you every week that I love Sol, I hope that I am letting you know by the way I look, by the way I speak, by the joy that I have, by the energy that I have to share it, that I know Sol can change your life. And coming to these webinars enhances our knowledge of the product, but it also solidifies why we use the product. And that's what we share when we share the recordings, or we invite someone to a webinar, or we share a sample of the drink. I so love what Sol does and what it has done for me personally. There are no words to describe, Greg. Really, words pale if I were to tell you how I feel about Sol, and how I feel about my association with all of you at Sol, because you are a vital part of my soul life. I feel rejuvenated every time I do these. Yeah. Do I get tired? Sure. Does Greg get tired? Of course. Does Jaliva get it? Yes. But what keeps us going? What keeps us going is what we feel, the joy that we have. And you know, today, and I don't want to end on a downer, but today I saw on the news a news report that stopped me in my tracks, that made me cry, that made me reevaluate. And I actually had to stop and tell my husband, who's home now because he's on vacation. Yay. But I told him, I said, you know, my heart breaks for this person who died today. And I'm heartbroken because it's a celebrity. Normally, I mean, yeah, you know, I don't really pay attention to celebrities, but this was a young man of 40 years old. And I think that today, in today's world, people will smile a lot and not let you know how they feel. Depression is real. Anxiety is real. And there is real help with Sol. There's real help in using adaptogenic herbs and combining adaptogens like Sol does with other herbs that enhance, not just one thing, you know. I mean, you look at a product like Sol Vital and you have to say that product does more than balance your organs. It does more than make you feel good. You can call it the happy juice if you want. It will make you happy, but it does so much more for your body. And like you say, we want this information readily available to the world. We literally can change people one person at a time. We can change the world one person at a time. We can change a person a little bit at a time by introducing products that can make a difference. Suicide is real. It's prevalent at this time of year. It breaks my heart on different levels. I know that this is something that is dear to the heart of Greg as well. We know how the mind-body connection, when it's broken or fractured, how it can affect our health. I have been there. I know that you can feel better, and I know that you can be stronger and deal with life on the way we should deal with life, when we heal the brain as well as the body, and we get to the root of the problem. And that's why adaptogens are important. And that's why I wanted Greg to tell us why it wasn't just something to make the company different or the product different. Yes, it is a different company. Yes, it is a different product. Yes, the compensation plan is amazing. Yes, the products are great and they have 100% guarantee, right? They're 100% plant-based. They're everything that they say they are and more. But really, what it all boils down to is that connection between the brain and the body. And when you can rebalance and reconnect what has been severed because of depression, because of abuse, because of lack of nutrition, because of toxicity, because of imbalances, and all of the things that really come to the root of the problem. When you can fix that with soul, with something like soul, then you're really making a difference in the world. And I hope, it is really my hope and my prayer that each one of you who watch the webinars every week, who attend the webinars every week, who share the webinars every week, are following up and making sure that that person is feeling the difference that you're telling them about. I love you guys so much. Greg, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for forming this company. I know it was born out of love and grief at the same time. And as you and I have both spoken, if that hadn't happened, Soul wouldn't be here today, and we wouldn't be changing thousands of lives. And Anita says, thank you so much. Amazing, wonderful, Anita. Thank you for being with us every week. I love you guys. Thanks, Greg. I know you have to run. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful presentation. So now you know the 5 things that make adaptogens important, why they are adaptogenic, and why we should be using them. And so before we close the recording, I just want to make a few announcements. Like I said, I am combining efforts with all of the leaders in my group. We are going to have every week different speakers. We're going to have every week, we'll have access to a business class as well as a health class, product class, taught by different people. I am hoping that Dr. Jenkins can be part of the panelists of this, people who will be discussing things. I hope that by now, Jaliva, you feel comfortable in speaking about different things. You are such a wealth of knowledge. You have so much to share. Anita, Gwen, so many of you. And I hope that when it's my turn to teach, because we're going to have 4 different classes. So Lydia has one of her leaders speaking. I will be one of the other leaders, and she will be one of the leaders. And between the 6 of us, we'll have 4 different health classes every week. And we'll invite some of you to be panelists and speak for us. So maybe I'm not the one doing all the speaking. Greg will always be with us on those webinars. And we will have a business class, which is very different. It's the Simplicity of Soul class that Lydia offers. And so we'll do that in English and in Spanish as well. And in English, we will also be joining forces with Erica Sanchez, who has a lot of different other speakers. And so we'll all be, and this is all my group. This is all part of my group. And so I just wanted to do something more unified so that we're all not just off doing so many different things. And so Spanish will be on Mondays and English will be on Tuesdays, and we'll start later in the day. So I think this will make it easier for us. I will send out a bulletin via WhatsApp. If some of you use Telegram, I'm hoping that Telegram might be easier than WhatsApp. I don't know, but I will still keep the WhatsApp group as well as the text chat group. So yeah, and so I will forward always every week the link so that you know where to be on Mondays or Tuesdays. And if you have Spanish speakers, invite them on Mondays. Okay, tell them, yeah, Debbie's group is enormous and we have different teachers every week. So this is going to be wonderful. I hope all of you got the text message or have signed up for text messaging from Soul. There's an amazing flash sale going on this weekend, 48 hours, not just one day, 48 hours. All you have to do is have your Soul, what do they call it? Discount code, I guess. And so Soul in the 40 serving, if you put in Soul Royal 40, Soul Royal 10, you get 10. Well, I have it right here. Hold on. I sent it to you guys this morning. What am I doing? Okay, here we go. So here it is. It is Royal 10 and get 10% off the 40 serving bag. Or if you have an order that includes longevity or Soul Megas, all you have to do is put Tri Royal and you can get 2 free samples of the Soul Royal. So make sure that you take advantage of that. And if you haven't signed up for text messaging from Soul, that's important. I have some great announcements for you. So you know that we do a virtual kickoff every year in January, right? And we've usually charged a registration form for that because Soul would send you a box of swag so that you could participate. Well, guess what? The Soul launch this year is going to be on January 14th. That is a Saturday. It will be an all-day affair. It is absolutely free, so no registration fee required. They will send us the link and we will be able to view it. Invite as many friends as you can to your house. People that you've been talking to about Soul, invite them to be part of the virtual kickoff. Again, that is January 14th, 2023. And our new class schedules, everything starts January 9th. That's the Monday for Spanish, January 10th for English. Okay, so that's when we will start classes again. And then I have the most amazing news to share. Daily pay starts December 16th. So what does that mean for you? That next time you share Soul with someone and you sponsor them, you will get paid your Soul Quick bonus that same day for sponsoring that person. So that means if you sponsor a brand new member, you get paid. Your Soul Quick is 30% of the CV of that sign up order. Or if they sign up as a specialist, you will earn a Soul Quick, which is 45% of your CV of that sign up order. So that's really amazing. You don't have to wait a whole week anymore to get your sign up commissions. You still get paid once a month for your group volume and your monthly commissions, but your Soul Quick bonus, that's pretty awesome. Okay, so we will be doing a once a month class called How Do I and Why Didn't I Know, where you will be able to ask questions about things on your back office or things about the Soul business that, how do I do this? Or why didn't I do that before? Why didn't I know where that was? So come with your questions, start emailing me questions, because we will be doing that the middle week of the month, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll send a bulletin with all of the class schedule for next year and let you know so that you start sending your questions in, and that will be answered live on a webinar for you with a panel of specialists and top leaders that will be answering questions for you every single month. So I've thought long and hard, what could I do for next year to make things fun, more exciting, and bring more to the table? I just thought, why not pool the efforts of everyone in my group who is doing such amazing work anyway, and all of us can reap those benefits. So again, I want to remind you that Soul Virtual Kickoff, January 14th, Saturday. I don't have the time schedule, but if we go to the page quickly, I can show you where you can find that information. So I am going to make sure that my Soul account is open. Just give me a second. And I'm going to show you on the happenings page where you can find all of that information. And we will, let me just share the screen with you again. And here we go. So now we are on the Soul back office. Does everybody see that now? It should have come up now. Perfect. We're going to go to the hamburger icon. We're going to drop down the screen. Here is your drop-down menu. Click on Happenings. And here you have Calendar, Soul Ignite, and Soul to Soul, right? I don't see Virtual Kickoff listed, which means they haven't put all that information out yet. But this right here is where you can find it, okay? So that, I wanted to make sure that you could see that.
If you click on calendar, Debbie, it's under calendar. Like they had the three, the virtual kickoff and Soul Ignite, but I clicked on calendar and it said that it was going to be online on the 14th.
Right, but it doesn't give you any details.
No details, no.
Yeah, so again, here it is, January 14th, but when they get closer to putting in all the information, then you will see that it will appear on the, when the drop-down menu comes in happenings, Soul Virtual will have its own tab with all of the information, like who the speakers will be and what time we're starting and the whole agenda. Everything will be listed there. But thank you, Gwen, for putting that out there. Because usually everything is listed on the calendar. So you know that Soul does a monthly Inside Soul. It's kind of like behind the scenes at Soul and what's new and what's coming up. That's where you see that. So if you are signed up for monthly text or just any text message from Soul, you will get that. But given the fact that technology is finicky sometimes, you may not get a text or may not realize that you had a text and you hadn't read it, right? Go to the happenings page, go to calendar, and you can see everything on there. Don't be confused when you see a leaders conference. Sometimes some of my Spanish leaders like to announce their conference directly on there. So if you have questions, you know that you can always call us or you can call the company. And anyway, I just love you guys. Thank you so much for being here every week.